Hello everybody. One Christmas I said to my daughter, would you like to help me decorate the tree? Now of course it's great when young children can help you put up the Christmas decorations. I must admit though, I used to be a little bit, not controlling, but a little bit too fussy. You know, there are some parents out there, especially mums, who after their children have gone to sleep, they rush downstairs and they rearrange the tree to how they want it to look because the kid has just thrown everything on the tree. Well, I used to be like that. But this year I thought, you know what, Christmas trees, they're not about Jesus anyway. What does it matter what the tree looks like? I am not going to be controlling. I am going to say, right, Sarah, it doesn't matter the colour scheme, it doesn't matter what you put on the tree. Here are the decorations, you decorate it and I'll help you. So I let her take charge. So we had blue baubles with orange baubles, with gold, with green, all types of baubles. Now I know there are some trees that have multicoloured baubles that look nice, but our tree did to me look a little bit like everything had just been thrown at it. And I resisted the urge to tell myself that I'm going to secretly go downstairs and make sure all the baubles are properly sorted in colours, you know, like a blue one with a silver and then above the silver and the blue. And I thought, no, it doesn't matter. So we must have put more than 50 baubles on this tree. Now I'm one of these people, we don't really have what do you call it, the fresh trees, you know, the real pine trees. We have the artificial ones, and after a while they do tend to be a bit little lopsided. Well, we had so many baubles on this tree that for once it wasn't lopsided because there was weight on the left, weight on the right, weight up there, weight down. So it was just rigid with all these baubles because the weight of all these baubles just kind of held it still. So I thought, oh, okay. For once our Christmas tree isn't twisted. But we sat down afterwards and I said to my husband, should we play a game? I'm a bit tired. And he said, yeah, I don't really have the mind for a board game at the moment. Can we just play something quick? So we all decided to play I Spy. Well, Sarah, who was about 6, she had played this game before and we didn't recall that there had been any problem. But for some reason, today, this day, it wasn't sinking in. So I'd sat there and I said, I spy with my little eye something beginning with B. And I looked at the tree. Thought I'd give her a clue, looked at all the baubles on the tree. So she looked around the room and she said, bows. Well, there were no bows anywhere in the room. So I thought I'd help her a little bit and steer her towards the tree. So I said, it's in that corner over there. So she sort of looked and she said, oh, bells. There were no bells anywhere in the room. We didn't have any bells. So my husband thought, right, let's give her a big clue. She's struggling a little bit, bless her. So he said, Sarah, darling, you helped Mummy put them on the tree. You put loads of them on the tree. They're circular and they're all different colours. You can even see your face in them. And she went and looked at the tree and said, oh, bits of tinsel. My husband and I looked at each other. And for a split second we thought, is there something wrong with our child? I mean, she's 6, she's intelligent. Why did she say that? But later on, I had a laugh to myself because I thought, how many times have I misunderstood simple instructions? If you watch my video entitled What a Plonker, or I'm Such a Plonker, Parenting Fails, got a picture of a mini a mini replica of the Only Fools and Horses Trotters three-wheeler van on the front of the thumbnail, so you'll be able to find it easy. But you'll know from that that I do misunderstand instructions quite a lot. And I just thought to myself, how many times has an instruction been given to me by the Lord and I've misunderstood it, or somebody else has given me an instruction and it's completely gone over my head, and maybe I'm standing there thinking, I think they might think I'm a bit stupid. Or even worse, how many times have I given a piece of information via text message or email, WhatsApp? That's usually the three places where there's misunderstanding. How many times have I spoken to someone and they've misunderstood me and thought I was being stroppy, thought I was being sarcastic, thought I was being funny when I wasn't being, maybe thought I was being ungracious, or thought I was being stupid. And there's been a little bit of tension. And then what I've said back to them, trying to explain myself, hasn't worked. In some cases it's got worse. I remember once somebody totally misunderstood me, and she was the type of person that misunderstood a lot of people and then got angry and judged them. And it happened to me, and she'd phoned me up and was blazingly angry at me. And I sent her a letter. My husband said, send her a letter, because maybe she's misunderstood. It made no difference. And sometimes people, no matter how much we try to explain ourselves to them, they just don't get it. They just don't get what you're on about. And I think one of the biggest irritations in the lives of humans is being misunderstood. And a lot of people have the fear of being misunderstood, and it affects them, it limits them, it binds them. It's like an oppression that keeps them in a prison, because they don't really want to express themselves or share or give their opinion, because they've been hurt, genuinely, seriously, deeply hurt, because they've been misunderstood and then judged, maybe being rejected because of that, maybe even being gossiped about, and it goes on. And we all know that one of the many causes of divorce is being misunderstood. Sometimes you think if you could just get a mediator in between who is totally impartial, and they say, right, you mean this, you mean that, you're both right, you're both wrong, come together, agree to disagree, agree that you're never going to agree, then maybe some marriages would be saved. And that's why Christians always say, keep Jesus in the middle, because he is the best mediator. Because sometimes, even as Christians, Christian marriages, Christian relationships, it makes no difference with the world. Sometimes if you don't have Jesus in the centre of your life and your relationships, you can feel like you want to smack the other person around the head because they just don't get what you're saying, and it can be really frustrating. So coming back to this story about my daughter, it really made me think about how much we need to have forgiveness towards other people for misunderstanding us or for not getting what we're trying to say, and how much we need to cut people slack, and how much we need to go before God and say, Lord, give me the wisdom to understand what's being said to me and what's expected of me, and give me the grace to accept that sometimes, even though you're speaking the same language as that person, they have a different temperament, they have a different understanding. Their brain just isn't wired the same way as my understanding, and they just don't get what I'm getting at. There is a Bible verse in the Word, Romans 12 verse 17, that says, actually it's Romans 12 verse 18, it says, do all you can to live in peace with everyone. And sometimes even then you're trying to live in peace with someone and they're just not getting what you're saying, and that peace is going because that person's pressed your buttons because there's a misunderstanding, and you're telling them there are 50 baubles on the tree, we're playing I Spy, and you tell me that you think B stands for bits of tinsel. And yeah, 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 22 says, love each other deeply with all your heart. And part of loving each other deeply is accepting that everyone, even your nearest and dearest, even your closest buddy, everyone has a brain that's wired slightly different from your own, and there is the big possibility that people aren't going to understand you, and that's when you need to go to God and ask him for wisdom, ask him for help, because the enemy likes to get in there with misunderstanding so much. So back to the story. Well, we didn't really enjoy the game of I Spy, so we said, let's play something else. Let's play a game, a physical game that we can all enjoy, where there's less misunderstandings. And I Spy, it can be boring anyway, so that was that. We never played it again, not for a very long time. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. It is loosely based on a chapter in my book called God Loves Children. The title is I Spy Your Impatience. And all my stories in this book basically are laughing at myself. I'm not really focusing on other people's faults, but my own, confessing how I sometimes can be impatient, sometimes be ungracious, sometimes be fearful or anxious, or even really sad about something. And it explains how I learned a lesson from God through that, him using children to teach me a lesson about his love and how I got through that. So if you like that story, I would like to encourage you to watch the others in the playlist and wait for the next story, because I will be posting that very shortly. Thank you for listening, especially if you didn't flick the second button and you listened all the way through. Thank you very much for staying with me and believing in the story, believing that it'll have a good ending. So I appreciate that, and please feel free to let me know in the comments box what you have struggled with regards to misunderstanding with relationships, and how you dealt with that, and if you're a Christian, how the Lord helped you to overcome that situation that saved a relationship that could have otherwise been torn apart. In the meantime, I would just like to say have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.